I love it. Let's dance, man.
Cool. I love it. Hey, man, it's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Joe. This is so cool. I can't wait to get started.
Me too, man. So let's begin our journey with this. I always start with COVID. Six
Okay.
years ago, it changed our lives, rearranged so many things. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you live and do things today?
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll tell you is professionally, really not much of a change because I was doing work from home before they called it work from home. 15 years before COVID happened. Wasn't doing it full time, but at the company that I was running, part of my compensation package was you get to work from home to spend time with your family and be there with your family. And over the years, I weaned more and more towards being at home, less and less towards being at the office. So it really was just a situation of um, showing up for work 2 days a week at the office or 0 days at the office. That's really what COVID did as far as that goes. Personally, probably affected my youngest son the most, which had a ripple effect on my wife and I. He was a highly recruited baseball player in his senior season, canceled his senior season, didn't end up playing. Also, which that had a ripple effect when he went on to be a freshman in college because they gave those kids an extra year of eligibility. So playing time wasn't what was agreed upon. Anyway, that was one of the reasons, one of the catalysts for us crossing the country and basically, selling everything and coming out to California because he had an opportunity to play baseball in Southern California. So we just said, hell, we'll go with you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, COVID was sort of, it sort of ramped all that up.
So let's get into the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day. You're in a school, and the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer him?
I help human beings get unstuck in their lives. Instead of talking about it, wishing for it, dreaming about it, I teach you how to go get it. That's my whole spiel. That's my mantra. Everything is go get it. If you want something in your life, you go get it. And many times people are handcuffed by all sorts of issues why they can't, won't go after their passion.
Yeah.
And I help to remove those from the equation and pump you up full of confidence and also be your sort of big brother and be your backup. So to make sure you get what you want.
So when you were 12 years old or you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream gig?
I wanted to play third base for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay, I love it.
Period. I was a ball player. Professionally, at that age, who the heck knows? By the time I was 14, 15, actually, that's when I got the media bug. I was always used to play with tape recorders and make little mock radio broadcasts. I have a radio background similar to you.
Yeah.
Um, and got the opportunity to, believe it or not, start working in community television at age 15. And I was directing shows by the time I was 16. And that took me to Temple University. And then I figured out, well, I probably have not even a face for radio. What's cooler than that maybe is production. And I got into the production side of things.
Okay. So what were the take me back to, are you from Philly originally?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about those early years and what were the elements of you becoming a coach, you becoming a motivator, getting into the media. What were those early seeds that were planted into you?
Well, I mean, it probably started on my birthday, like literally the day I was born, because some of that's genetic.
Yeah.
My mother, born leader, big mouth, take charge, no BS, self-reliant, independent type person. And that was ingrained to me at a very early age that you have to learn how to take care of yourself and be a leader. And that was everything from, well, they wanted me to skip a grade when I was in second grade. I took the SAT in sixth grade because they were just pushing me along. You know, uh, all, all the awards I won graduating grade school, it sounds silly, but I swept the whole event. Was the captain of the high school baseball team, always the manager or the shop steward or the supervisor at all the little part-time jobs I've had. There was no wiggle room. You're to be the leader. That came from mom. And my dad, same thing. Work ethic, crazy, never showed up to work on time, was always 90 minutes early. And that, when you're raised in that environment, that's all you know. That I didn't know there was another way to do it. So that just translated to everything I did, to going to college, to making sure I got done in 4 years, to getting my internship in the third year, to locking in my full-time employment before I even graduated, to staying with that company for 27 years. It all started from mom and dad.
So I'm curious, when I grew up, I used to cut the newspaper out. I would do the same kinds of things, making my own thing up. Who are the broadcasters? Who are the people that you emulated and looked up to?
In like, early years, like high school years, I actually spent 12 years in Atlanta. And there was a really kick butt rock station called WKLS 96 Rock.
Yeah.
And they used to have a big deep voice promo guy by the name of Joe Kelly. 96 Rock, pure rock and roll. I wanted to be that guy. I thought he was just God's gift to radio, man. And then as I got older and went to college in the Philadelphia market, well, then you're exposed to guys like John DeBella and Howard Stern. Um, and I thought that was my thing. I wanted to do shtick on the radio and spin the hits, the stacks of wax, platters that matter. Wound up getting an internship at WYSP Radio. That was the Philadelphia hub, Howard Stern. And
Yeah.
who hired me? Tim Sabian. Tim Sabian, Howard Stern's program director.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward a couple of years, when I got my first job and Tim Sabian hired me at 19 years old, wound up getting a job with the production director at the station, a guy by the name of Paul Turner. And Paul Turner was the voice of the Howard Stern Show, the big deep voice guy. You're
Yeah.
listening to the Howard Stern Show. And I'm not even giving that any justice. I mean, Paul's inhuman.
Yeah.
And, Paul and I are still good friends after, geez, 35 years of knowing each other. He was in my wedding. I was in his. I worked for him for a decade. I managed his career. And I was assembling, producing, editing Howard Stern's IDs, rejoins, bumpers, promos for 10 years. I did that.
Wow.
So, in a way, I kind of got what I wanted. Just I had to go in the back door a little bit.
I actually, my first gig that I ever got was an internship. It was on Signal Hill in Kansas City, and there used to be a rock station in the 80s called KY 102. And
Okay.
all of the cats were there. Well, this was kind of a conglomeration. There was a thing called 61 Country, and it was pre and post game production for the Kansas City Royals. And I wanted to get into sports broadcasting, but I remember being in those halls and all those cats. There was a guy named Skid Rohde. There was another guy named Marty Wall, and I was the guy. We used to run promos for a steakhouse called the Hereford House. I would go and get food during commercial breaks and bring it back, and I may eat. I may not, but it was one of those kind of rites of passages in radio at that point. That's what you
Pay your
did.
dues, man.
But you got to be up there with all the cats. You got to see how it worked. You could go in the studio and produce whatever you wanted, flip around in the chair, just feel what it was like. It was glorified. It was wonderful.
It's like we were separated at birth or something because I very much did the same thing. My first role in major market radio at age 19 years old was answering and screening phone calls for public affairs programming on Sunday mornings, which is mandated by the FCC.
Yeah.
And who calls a radio station at 5 in the morning? Well, you get all kind of interesting characters. So I had to talk to those people. But the cool thing was me being in the building, as soon as they needed somebody to answer pre and answer games for the pre and post game show for the Philadelphia Eagles broadcast,
Yep.
who did they ask?
Uh-huh.
Me.
Yeah.
And then that was a little sexier. So we're talking football now. Then I get to rub shoulders with broadcasting legends like Bill Campbell.
Uh-huh.
Bill Campbell's a legend. I mean, he called, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. This is the Bill Campbell we're talking about. And I used to sit and eat lunch with the guy.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, that introduced me to Paul Turner, which eventually that skyrocketed my production career from there.
So who would you say has been kind of the overall inspirational force in your life from broadcasting to coaching? Who has been that in your life?
Man, you can't nail it down to one person. I wrote about 10 of them in my book. And that was even a hard choice to boil it down to 10. But, obviously, like we said, my parents are involved in that. Paul Turner was very much responsible for that. I mentioned Tim Sabian's name. He's like an adopted uncle for me now. He and I still talk on the phone all these years later. And he's one of the busiest men in show business. And I'm blessed that if I call him or if I text him or hit him with a DM or something, he gets right back to me.
Yeah.
I am very important to him. I'm not important, but I'm important enough to him
Yeah.
that he checks in on me and we have conversations and we talk about my family and everything else. I mean, all those guys were essential to building my broadcast production career.
So going the distance, let's get into it. You touched on the book. Talk to me a little bit. Yes, sir. You talk to me a little bit about this journey of coming up with the idea and and opening the box full of books for the first time. What's that been like?
Well, I mean, look, as I built my coaching career, there are certain milestones that online influencers or coaches sort of have so that they have their whole sort of portfolio of promotion of services. So whether that's live streaming, podcasting, content, network growth, etc. And I was checking all those boxes. I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm growing this business, and it kept gnawing at me. People say, you got to have a book. You got to have a book. And I just kept putting it off, putting it off. I said, finally, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I wanted to come up with a self-help book, yes, but also pay tribute and homage to the shoulders that I stood on that even gave me the opportunity to talk about anything important. Otherwise, I'd just be another schmo from the neighborhood. And I wanted to do it in a way that wasn't the typical dry theory, boring, put you to sleep dreck that's in a lot of these books. So I said, what can I do that's a little exciting, that's interesting, that has real world evidence? And as I'm starting to, write notes, I remember sitting on a plane, just jotting notes as I'm flying to one of my son's events. And it started to kind of take shape like, man, there's all these people that affected my life. And then on the flip side, okay, you take a look at me, I'm a physical guy. I'm a martial arts, mixed martial arts fan, a boxing fan. I trained as a boxer. I trained with Tim Witherspoon, former heavyweight champion of the world. I'm a nerd. In production, I produce spots for Tyson, Holyfield, De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr. I can go on and on and on. So I was always dipped in boxing, whether as a fan, as a vendor, as an athlete. And that's when it clicked to me is that I can write a book that looks like a 10-round fight.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Life's a fight.
Yeah.
Boxing and life are very similar. And my whole brand, the way I operate is life punches you hard. You got to get back up and punch back. And that's what I did. I wrote a book. So therein lies the name. It helped that I can put my name in the book. Going the Distance is very much a boxing metaphor, and I spelled it DISS, distance. And each chapter is not a chapter, it's a round, 10 rounds. And after every round, instead of just getting some, here's the lesson you learn or here's the conclusion, we call that the scorecard. And you get the scorecard. And, instead of the preface, it's the pre-fight introductions. Everything had this boxing theme because I wanted to be something that you could sit down in a couple hours and boom, knock it out. And most everybody who's bought the book, who's reported to me saying, yeah, in like 2, 3 hours, I'm done.
Yeah.
And, it can make an impact without having to bore you to death. Because quite honestly, I was not the most voracious reader. I wanted to write a book that I would read.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig it. So let me ask you this. The one thing about getting into broadcasting is that there's a level of courage, there's a level of confidence that goes into that world. Was there someone that said something really nice or encouraged you in a way that made you feel like you could do it? Was there that individual in your life?
I would say it actually happened the opposite way.
Okay.
Um, in college, like I said, I had these delusions of being on television or on movies and as luck would have it, I scored an audition with a local production company. They were casting for a film. And I practiced my lines. I went and had headshots done. It was the whole thing. I'm thinking, okay, here's my big break. And I did the audition and I probably was just pathetic. I mean, who knows? I probably stunk. And rightfully so, the person who I was auditioning for said that in not so many words and made a comment to me, so, maybe, you're a big, strong guy. Maybe you want to get involved, as a gaffer or a grip. Um, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I said, you know what? I'm going to show this person. I'm going to make it on my terms, doing what I want to do. And was that the single thing that projected me into production? No, but that definitely was a eureka moment. Like it ain't gonna be just handed to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you better have skin of leather too,
Yeah.
because in radio, in television, in the media, it's a subjective environment. You pour your heart and soul into something you create, and then some other guy wearing a suit and tie goes, that sucks, do it again.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. So
Uh-huh.
that was kind of the first introduction to that.
Yeah. So when did coaching make sense? When did you make this switch into coaching? Why was that an avenue that makes sense and that's your place right now?
I talk a lot about that in the book, and I'll kind of give you the short story. There was two sort of moving targets that intersected that, kind of said, okay, this is where I want to be in the coaching world. Number one is I had been running this production company in the Philadelphia market. It was around 25 years in. We're talking like 2017, 2018-ish. Um, I was the vice president. The only thing left for me to do was to buy the company, which I really wasn't interested in. I was making an awesome living. I had every material thing you could ask for. I lived in a big house, drove a Mercedes, I had a Harley Davidson. I can go down the list of all the cool toys I had. I could come and go as I please. Like I said earlier in the interview, I was working from home before working from home was a thing, but I was feeling pretty unfulfilled. It's like, well, here I am. I'm, 46, 47 years old. Is this it? Am I gonna, any other career, I would have gotten a gold watch and a pension at this point. But that was not in the cards for me. So I had this feeling of unfulfillment, like I always need a mission, by the way. I got to be striving for something.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, I mentioned my son, accomplished athlete, highly recruited. We knew he was going to go to college at another state. And I hadn't missed a game ever, never, since he was in diapers, T-ball. And, we traveled all around the country, him as a teenager. And, he was in a really interesting position where he was going to get a chance to play at the next level and maybe even go a little further. He was getting some sniffs from the pros. And I said, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm not tied to a zip code or a brick and mortar building at all because I need the freedom. If I got to go to this city to watch a game or fly here for this event or something. So knowing that, I started to pay a little more attention to a little social media platform called LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I'm watching LinkedIn. This is, 2017, 2018-ish. And I see these people on there that are these talking heads and they're pointing their fingers and they're giving advice and they have charisma and moxie and they're getting lots of attention and they're selling books and they're doing these coaching sessions, teaching people XYZ, whatever it is. And I'm watching that and I got to be honest with you, I'm like, yo, I can do that.
Yeah.
I could do that. And it seemed like a perfect fit because I could do it from anywhere. I could charge what I want to charge. I could do it in the car. I could do it in my office. I could do it in a parking lot. I could do it at the airport if I needed to. And I noticed in my business, now this will be familiar to you. You have dealt with and probably done your share of voiceover work.
Hmm.
And at that time, voiceover work, voiceover talent were there was a weird thing going on in the business where union work was drying up, non-union was booming. You had these platforms that were popping up where you could join a casting site for a fee and get auditions, and the whole the whole landscape was changing on how you got voice work. Now, I spent a lifetime vetting voiceover talent and
Yeah.
booking tens of millions of dollars of voiceover inventory all over the world. I'm thinking, man, these talent don't know how to market themselves.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, this is it. I'm going to coach voiceover people, teach them how to market themselves using the online tools in the modern economy. And that's I kind of hung my shingle out. At the same time I was running the production company, I kind of moonlighted and did a session here, a session there, and then it just started to snowball. And before I knew it, I had enough clients. I was earning the same income as I was running somebody else's company. And it just got
Wow.
to the point where it's like, man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I punching in for somebody else?
Yeah.
And selling all of this inventory that I only get a fraction for at the end by the time, my salary was just a pittance compared to the gross amount of money we were billing.
Yeah.
Why would I keep doing that when I could bill and get 100% of it for me?
That's
Sounds
right.
very selfish, but this was my Shawshank plan.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you don't understand the analogy.
Uh-huh.
And
Totally.
I believe me, I crawled through 500 feet of you know what,
Yeah.
and I chipped away at that wall to make that thing so I could walk away. So I launched my coaching business May, June 2018. By July 2020, I walked away from the production company. I've
Wow.
never looked back since.
That's beautiful. So when you think about the word retirement, when that big word comes up in front of you, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sort of semi-retired now
Okay.
in all transparency. I mean, I'm fortunate that I work maybe 20 hours a week. Um, Retirement number one is about QTL. Do you know what QTL is?
UTL, quality time,
You're good, man. You're good.
love,
Quality time left.
left. I got you. Okay.
Quality time left. It's
Okay.
like, I ain't gonna be here forever.
That's right.
I can't take all this money that I earn and put it in a casket with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, my family has always been first and foremost. I even have it tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how much I believe in it. My wife is my best friend, my champion. She's the Adrian to my Rocky, and I get to have coffee with her every day. I get to have dinner with her every day. I'm very lucky, and because there were years where that didn't happen because I was grinding and hustling and working for somebody else. I get to fly and see my kids whenever I want. Um, you know, I live in an affluent area. I don't have to punch in. I don't have to ask permission for anybody. All those things to me make up what retirement is all about. Will I ever stop working? I doubt it.
Right.
There's always somebody I think I can help, and quite honestly, I can't sit still. I'm not going to exactly sit around with my feet up and relax. I'll always be, generating some revenue somehow, some way, if anything, just to keep me from jumping into traffic.
Yeah. I dig it. So let's say you had a dream tonight, ran into the 16-year-old version of you, and you walked into a room and there was a film projector and you played a 60-second highlight clip of your life so far. Would that version of you believe that this is the life that you've led?
100%,
Okay.
100%, because I was driven.
Yeah.
Like I said, from, you know, grade school on, driven, achievement, pure. I wouldn't have been shocked if anything. My younger self would have said, "Is that it?"
Yeah. Right.
You
Would
know,
you
and
give?
look, I've done pretty good. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
lie.
yeah.
But yeah, my younger self would have gone, I thought you would have been able to do ba ba ba.
Would you give that young version any advice?
uh, I would tell him you're not working hard enough. I would tell him to stop chasing skirts, pay attention, um, savor the moments with the people around you.
Yeah.
Because when you're a teenager, you can't wait to be 18. When you're 18, you can't wait to be 21. When you're 21, you're ready to be 30. And I don't regret any of the decisions that I made leading up to any of those ages, but I wish I would have just kind of soaked it in a little more
Yeah.
because I was just moving 100 miles an hour the whole time. Like some of that's just a blur.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember more.
Yeah.
I I, I talk to people on social media, guys I went to high school with. and they relay some stories or anecdotes, and damn it, I don't even remember that happened.
I know
And I
the
wish I would have
feeling.
paid attention.
Dude, I know that feeling so well. So I got two fantastical questions I want to broach with you. I want to
Okay.
tap into that broadcasting bone in you. If you could interview one person alive on the planet right now that you wish you would know more about, or just to be able to be around them in that journalistic sense, who would you love to talk to?
One person alive,
It could be a ghost. It could be either or.
alive or dead.
Yeah.
Ah, boy. Like someone who's a celebrity.
Well, somebody that you looked up to that was influential, that did amazing things. Yeah, I mean, it could be an athlete, it could be a musician. Like, who would it be that you would love to have just talked to? Like for me, I would love to sit down with Bob Costas and just have it out.
Okay, sure, sure.
He's the cat.
I would probably tell you Muhammad Ali.
Okay. Yeah.
And because I was fortunate, I've been in the company and had conversations with George Foreman and Joe Frazier,
Wow.
but never Ali. I would have broken down if I saw Ali.
Oh man.
Look, I'm a big, strong dude, but I would have wept had I seen him because he was still is. I mean, I have clothes with his picture on it. I watch his fights. I mean, but not just as the boxer,
Right.
as a man.
Yeah.
This guy, man, top of the food chain. Let me tell you.
Monolith. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this. Coming from Philly, it's a great sports town. I always think that Philly and Kansas City have a lot in common. There's a real culinary bug, there's a real sports bug. It's blue collar, it's gritty. There's just a level of palpable heartbeat that happens in those cities.
for sure.
You could go see one game. One game. Where are you going?
Oh, that is not even I don't even have to think about that. And I have a
Okay.
very selfish reason.
Okay.
The first is I want to go see the Phillies play.
Right?
And here's why. Here's the kicker. If you've been paying attention during this interview, I mentioned once or twice that my son was a highly recruited baseball player.
Uh-huh.
Well, guess who drafted him in July of 2022?
I was just getting ready to ask how he's doing. Wow.
Pick number 362 by the Philadelphia Phillies.
That's beautiful.
He's in his fifth year of minor league ball in the Philadelphia Phillies system. And we go watch him play all the time. He's getting ready. He's training right now. He's at home for a little while, but he's getting ready to ship out to Florida in February. It's been an amazing ride, and what a cool kind of story that
Man.
here we are from Philly, Beverly Hillbillies, travel all across to the
Yeah.
West Coast so he could play college ball, only to be drafted by the home team. And he's getting his bones. Like I said, he's making his way up the ladder, but probably has a couple, maybe 2, 3 years more to go before he gets a sniff at the show if he's lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Philadelphia Phillies, 100%. Sit me down behind home plate. My son's a catcher, so I can razz the umpire a little bit.
I love it. So I keep thinking when you were mentioned Philadelphia, 1980, that World Series, because they played the Royals.
That's right.
That
I
was
remember that vividly.
that was quite a thing. Who was Tug McGraw in Game Seven? Who was the Game Seven, or was it Carlton?
Well, Carlton started the game. Tug
Okay.
McGraw was the reliever who got Willie Wilson the last out. And I can remember that. I was a kid, and my father clapped so hard he broke his watch.
Willie Wilson actually scolded me in '85 after we won the World Series.
Really?
I went to a high class golf club and I asked him for an autograph the second time because I'm just a kid doting around. Brett and all those guys are out
Oh
there.
yeah.
And he just made a big production. Hey kid, didn't I autograph for you already? So I got the pristine privilege of having Willie Wilson discipline me for asking for multiple
Wow,
autographs.
that's a great story. But I remember that World Series
Yeah,
well,
dude.
1980.
Yeah, that was amazing. And man, I've been pulling for them the last couple years. It's just like I don't know what's going on. Harper and all those cats, Kyle Schwarber, it's like the nucleus. And I got to ask you this. I hope
Okay.
that you've seen this film. I really do. That film, The Turnaround on Netflix. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was. Were you talking about the one about Trey Turner?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, that was like Rudy for baseball, man. That
I
broke
just
me
got
down.
chills when you just said that to me. I
Wow.
just got chills. Yeah.
No one's seen it, and I'm glad a Philly dude has seen it.
Well,
Everybody's like,
and the guy who did it is that's about as Philly as you can get. I
yeah,
mean,
that
that guy is like salt of the earth, Delco. If you don't, that's Delaware County short for it, but Delco's like a whole other planet in Philly. But yeah, I mean, that's Look, the Philadelphia fans, they're tough,
Yep.
they're passionate, but there's nothing like that atmosphere where you're in a sea of red. You can understand that if you go to watch the Chiefs play.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phillies baseball. I mean, look, my son is not Harper or Schwarber or any of these high end players, but even at the level that he's at, people follow him, and they because they're rabid Philadelphia Phillies fans. We've had people in the stands want to take their picture with me and my wife just because we're his parents. It's the craziest thing, and look, we eat it up. It's fun, but yeah, the Philadelphia fans they're amazing.
What a cool full circle moment to be able to have your son play for your team growing up. That's crazy,
It's a
dude.
movie, man. I
Oh
just
my
look, we're not
God.
we're not at the end yet.
No, I know.
Want to
Yeah.
count the chickens. I mean, because anything could happen. But you look, we said to him more than once, and he understands that. He said, look, if his career ended today, he's had 4+ years of professional baseball under his belt. They'll never take that away.
Nope.
He's among a very small, minute amount of people in this world who's gotten that chance, and very, very lucky.
So speaking of everything that you've accomplished and evolved to in your life, what are you the proudest of?
My kids,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about now.
Yeah.
My story's written. Everything I do now until the gurney takes me away is about my kids and their kids.
I love it.
My youngest just got engaged to get married. So that's going to be fun. I have an older son, he's been married and we're waiting for him to, get things rolling with the little ones. But I've had a very charmed life, a very, dare I say, Forrest Gumpian experience where I've bumped into a lot of people, been involved in a lot of things, and crossed off a lot of things in the man handbook.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with that. And I don't really have any other aspirations left. My aspirations now are about the health and success of my family. I'm living in the house that I want them to, take me away from when it's over. We don't want to move again. We're in a great neighborhood. Financially, knock on wood, I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy, but I don't have to live check to check.
Yeah.
So all that's covered. And, career-wise, I have the great opportunity to talk on the internet and meet people, and some of them decide, hey, that guy Corey, he's got something to say. I think I'm going to pay him a few bucks to help me. What a cool opportunity. I mean, geez.
100%.
I mean,
So
pinch me. Is this a dream? I mean, crazy.
that's it, man. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that's known you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm the hardest working MFer you've ever met. And I'm a stand-up guy. What you see is what you get. I say what I mean, even if you don't like it. I'm unapologetic, confident, um, and I'm independent and self-reliant. Um, and I'm happy to put you on my shoulders if you need it.
Going the Distance is the new book. If anyone wants to pick up a copy, hire you, reach out, any of the good business. Where do they go?
OREYDISSIN.com. I always joke every time I'm asked that question. I'm a marketing guy, I'm a marketing coach. If you go on Google and you can't find me, I ain't doing something right. I mean, I'm pretty easy to find. There's just a couple of pages of information, and I say that facetiously about the things that I've done. But the hub is the website, and I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm a LinkedIn junkie. As you probably have seen, I probably lit you up with tags a few times.
Love it. Yes.
And I'll do it again, by the way, when we're done here. But you can easily find me on there. That's I always tell people if you don't want to make money, don't go on LinkedIn. But you'll find me there because I like making money. So
I dig it. Absolutely. Corey, what an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, sir. I appreciate
no,
it.
too much fun. I'm so glad we had this time together. And selfishly, I love talking about baseball and my
Oh,
kid
dude.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Too much fun, man.
I love it. All of this is right down the avenue. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful 2026.